Okay, we're live. Hello, everybody. We're going to discuss the official trailer for the 2014 Godzilla. I'm here with Tyler, Mr. Know-it-all of all Godzilla, Jose, who's another very big Godzilla fan, and myself, who's a semi-big Godzilla fan, more so now with this trailer. My goodness. So these two guys already, I know Jose already posted his review of the trailer on his channel. Tyler right now is still editing his. And I haven't posted my thoughts on the trailer, so here's my brief opinion of the trailer. My review is basically, holy shit. That's it. That's right there. This trailer is amazing because there's so if you're like familiar with Godzilla, which both of you are, there's certain things in this trailer that go back to the original film. Like in the halfway mark of the trailer, 1 minute into the trailer, they talk about 1954. And for those who know Godzilla, know the original film came out in 1954, and they kind of summarize the film in that 1 minute mark in the trailer. And when I heard that, I was like, that's pretty awesome. And that they're recognizing the original film in this film. It's not like a reboot or anything like that at all. They're actually recognizing that what those events that happened in that first film actually really exist also in this timeline. So I thought that was really awesome.
I
So
wanna I like to point this out though. Like this is not the first time a Godzilla movie refers back to 1954. Like there were some films in the 90s like Godzilla versus King Ghidorah, which it refers to 1954, and more recent 2000 Godzilla films also refer to 1954. But it's kind of cool in a way in the trailer how they present it differently than the other movies.
yeah, yeah. Well, because those movies, the thing is, this is more of American. Those other films are more Japanese than American, correct?
Right.
Would you say?
Yes.
Right? They're more Japanese, while this is more American than Japanese. So I kind of had the impression that this film was going to be kind of more like they were going to ignore everything else and just kind of like still keep the same, but kind of ignore those other films. The fact that they're kind of referring to the original film, I think, is freaking amazing. Like that gave me chills when I heard that little clip when they said well, the exact quote is 1954. We have awakened something. Okay, that's freaking awesome. So, Jose, what do you think about the trailer? I know you're probably freaking out.
Yeah, I actually saw the trailer 6 seconds when it was officially uploaded to the Legendary
Wow.
Pictures
Were you like
website.
refreshing or something?
I was constantly refreshing the Godzilla movie page, so I saw it like as soon as it was uploaded. It said 6 seconds since it was uploaded. I was like, I have to watch this first. So I watched it, and I just completely it just lost it. I remember the point where I just started squealing, and you won't see it in my review because my review is a little more tamed. But when I saw the trailer, the thing that really hooked me was the opening dialogue by Bryan Cranston.
Oh
You're
yeah.
gonna you can see that Bryan Cranston is just going to completely dominate this movie with his dialogue, and you can just tell because just hearing him how passionate he is and how you can just
Mhm.
hear in his voice how genuinely just enthralled he is in what he's saying. It just completely just hooks you right into the trailer. Another part of the trailer that also really impressed me is of the simple fact we see Godzilla coming out of the ocean and he's in an island. Now, rumors have been flying around around the internet that that island that he comes out of could be Monster Island. And Tyler, you probably know what Monster Island
Yeah,
is, right?
Monster Islands, for those who do not know, is the island that was first in The Story of Monsters and also appeared in Godzilla vs. Gigan and other movies. Basically, it is an island where all the monsters are together.
Exactly. So a lot of people have been thinking that that's the Monster Island, as well as Tyler brought up. Gigan is going to be in this movie, or I hope I'm saying
Okay,
his
You
name right.
Gigan?
Gigan is going to
that's
be in this
what
movie.
that's
Go
one
ahead.
thing that I wanted to mention because while watching the trailer, I felt like there was another monster in there somewhere. Like I saw certain things that I'm like, that doesn't look like Godzilla. That looks like
Another creature.
Yeah, because they announced that they're gonna have two monsters in this movie.
And those two monsters have been officially said to be Rodan and Gigan. I hope I keep saying his name right.
It's pronounced right now.
But
And I think in the trailer itself you see glimpses of these monsters because there's one scene where you see like it looks like some kind of claw or foot of something that doesn't look like Godzilla like coming down.
yeah, that's
I'm not exactly
that's
sure.
Gigan.
You think so?
It's Gigan because of the simple fact that Gigan had this thing where he didn't have hands. He had metallic claws that from what I understand could light up and I think it was in a specific movie where it was like where I think it was Godzilla and another Earth monster were going up against these two alien monsters in Gigan and King Ghidorah. But Gigan has this thing. He's iconic for not having hands. He has these two giant hook-like hands that he uses to fight.
Yes,
So,
Yeah, and
that's
also
exactly
Gigan
what you see
also
in the
has.
trailer. You see that in the trailer.
and then another thing is people have been wondering what is that creature, that huge creature falling from the sky that crashes into the ocean, and people have been saying, and Gareth Edwards has been teasing that that is Rodan. And if you remember Rodan, he's one of perhaps Godzilla's oldest enemies from the black and white Godzilla films, like back in the day. So
Hmm.
these two monsters are definitely going to be in the film. The only issue I have is that Toho, unfortunately, due to copyright, is not allowing Warner Brothers or Legendary Pictures to refer to them by Gigan and Rodan. They're going to have to refer to them as other names. The only reason this is because Toho has made it perfectly and vocally clear that they won't officially hand over rights to their characters until they see the numbers and success that this remake has in the overseas and domestic box office. Until that happens, then they said they could give them the rights and have them make more movies. But for right now, everything in this trailer just worked in its favor. The music from 2001: Space Odyssey is in this. The chills. See, it's an amazing movie. That music is and the
It's
shot.
wonderful. It's just
The,
they picked like the perfect music for this movie. Like it works so well in so many ways, and it gives you chills. Like I can't wait to see this trailer in the movie theater with the surround sound and everything.
it's gonna be
I
shown in front of Captain America for sure.
oh, I'm looking forward to it. So Tyler, as like a longtime Godzilla fan, because I think you're out of all of us, I think you're the most fanatic when it comes to Godzilla.
Yep.
Do you approve of this trailer? Like seeing this
Thumbs
trailer
up.
as a Godzilla fan, I mean,
I
is it like
approve it.
two thumbs up or just one thumb up? Like, what do you
Like
think?
one Godzilla's thumbs up or two Godzilla's thumbs up.
So, as a Godzilla fan, like, what in the trailer like really speaks to you that makes you really happy about it?
Oh boy. Oh, there's a lot of things. First thing is that I like the fact that the movie is in a darker kind of edge to it because the other Godzilla movies as of lately has been really light. So to see Godzilla back to dark roots is actually really, really awesome. Secondly, I like the fact that the tone, again, is so dark and we get to get the hands of the monsters that are going to be in the movies. So that's, of course, really, really awesome. I also like Bryan Cranston's lines because he really steals the trailer. The
Hmm.
music, like in 2001, is also awesome. So everything about the trailer made me really excited.
That's good. That's good. If Tyler approves, we know the trailer is worth something. But yeah, that's the thing. Like Bryan Cranston, I think him and Godzilla are gonna be the star of the movie. They're just
Yeah.
Godzilla should be fighting Bryan Cranston, not an actual monster. Because like he's like so
It's
wonderful.
gonna be
as
called.
an
It's gonna be
actor.
called. It's gonna be called Bryan Cranston featuring Godzilla. That's the title of the movie.
That's what it should be.
I
Bryan
mean,
Cranston, Godzilla. That's it.
I think
Because
that.
I mean,
his
everything is
mind.
possible. Like everything is possible because they actually made a Godzilla versus Bambi movie.
What?
Oh yeah. Oh,
Was that a cartoon or was that like live action? I
It
have
was a
never seen.
it was a cartoon.
I
Okay.
remember that. Bambi
I
versus
didn't know that.
Godzilla.
I had no idea that existed, but that's interesting. I
Oh
need to
my
check
god.
that out. Godzilla versus Bambi. So, um, but yeah, I do. Okay, the other thing that I realized, I don't know, maybe they're still working on it. The CGI, I have to say, in certain scenes,
Uh,
it kind of seemed a little off. The CGI. I don't know if
it
that was
looked
just.
I'm not even gonna pretend like I didn't see that. The
Okay.
CGI in this movie, and it's the same issue that I had with the Transformers Age of Extinction trailer that was shown in the Super Bowl. Some of these visual effects look borderline video game quality.
Yes.
But here's the thing. The movies are still being edited. They're still being worked. The visual effects aren't completely ready yet. So what
Yeah.
we're seeing here could be early developments into the creatures as well as into Godzilla. And I feel like once they've polished up everything, the visuals are going to be fantastic. By the way, a lot of people have been really the one visual that a lot of people have been really poking at is the Statue of Liberty one, which actually obviously looks terrible. I'm not even going to pretend.
I don't think that like that didn't stand out to me. The part that stood up on me was the one where the water is like rushing into the city and you see the
Ah,
people
yeah.
running away from it. That really looked weird in for
The
my
other one that
opinion.
stood out for me was Godzilla coming out of the water during where those naval ships are.
Yeah.
That
The
too. That too.
CGI
That
was
too.
very obvious, but like I
Yeah.
said, this movie is still in pre-production.
Okay.
It's still the visual effects are still being worked on. They need a few touch-ups, but if you know Gareth Edwards and you've seen his movie Monster, you'll know that
Uh-huh.
the visuals in that movie aren't exactly top-notch.
But that
But
was a more of an indie, low-budget film. This is more of a big mainstream film. This needs to have good visual effects because I can see
but
people seeing this movie and having that issue with the visual effects. That can take you out of a movie
I
too,
mean,
especially a
for
movie
Godzilla
like this.
fans, special effects are actually the lowest of the low because
Yeah, I know.
we're used to men in suits. So
Yeah.
yeah, we're not. I don't think a lot of people who are Godzilla fans are gonna pick on the CGI.
but
The average guy who's
uh,
watching the movie just
But the
wants.
general movie audience, the critics, the
Yeah.
general movie fans, they're going to nitpick the crap out of the visual effects if they're not up to par to what they're used to.
Yeah.
And that can, regardless of the acting, regardless of everything, if the visual effects aren't there, I can see people having an issue
nitpicking it.
with the film. Yeah, they're gonna use it as a nitpick that the visual effects were terrible, and I don't want that. I want this movie to be basically a perfect film when it comes to Godzilla. You don't you want everything to be perfect. You don't want the visual effects to be bad. So I hope they fix that by the
They
time the
will.
movie finally comes out. I'm sure they will. I'm sure. Hopefully.
What we need to talk about is the final shot in that trailer. Perhaps
Okay.
one of the most epic shots that everybody's going to be talking about. What looks like to be people running into a bomb shelter as
Mhm.
we see Godzilla for the first time roaring. Like that, just that shot at the end of the trailer, just seeing Godzilla roar
Yeah.
is just so bone chilling. And I kind of just remember, I keep running that scene through my head, and just he looks like like all the other Godzilla movies that have come out. And like Tyler said back in the day, it's we're not in the day of people wearing rubber suits anymore. But that final shot of Godzilla roaring, like you see him, he looks like such a like you can feel like he's such an animal. He looks like such a beast, so primal, and just all that looks so great. And I think the fact is that Godzilla, this is his movie. This is gonna be his redemption after that decade-long Roland Emmerich movie that came out that has even been made fun of in a Japanese
Did you see his
Godzilla
tweet? I
movie.
know Tyler shared his tweet, and he said that this Godzilla trailer looks awesome. And I'm like, I wanted to respond to that. I'm like, yeah, this is how you make a Godzilla movie, mister. Take some notes. But
I wanted to tweet. I was gonna tweet. I was gonna tweet Roland Emmerich as well and tell him like, you see this? This is Godzilla, not some half-breed iguana bullcrap.
they change his sizes every so often depending what location he's in. Like,
I was actually gonna
anyway.
tweet Roland Emmerich. Like, I was actually gonna tweet Roland Emmerich and be like, I was gonna tweet him, and my first tweet to him was gonna be like, Gareth Edwards Godzilla would eat your Godzilla any day. Like, it's just like I think his design as well is pretty gigantic.
It's
You
huge.
you can tell that he's going to. I know a lot of people have been having issues. Like some people have, like especially with the new poster that came out for the movie.
Uh-huh.
for Godzilla. A lot of people have been saying that they're having issues. They're not sure what size Godzilla is because sometimes you see him in shots and he's almost the same size as the building.
Uh-huh.
There's no denying this Godzilla is going to be ginormous. Just that one scene of him coming out of the water, the fact that his scales on his back are just as big as the naval ships,
Yeah.
that's insane. I can't my mind cannot handle so much awesomeness. It's
Okay, Tyler, you can confirm this for us. In the original film, which has been so long since I've seen it, how big was Godzilla? Was he just like towering over the buildings to the point that they were as big as his foot, or were they, or how? What was his size in the original movies?
Oh, that's a good question. Actually, in terms of the size, he was as tall as the buildings, but I don't really know what kind of height he was, though.
Okay, yeah, because I know the poster you're referring to. You're referring to the poster where he's in San Francisco, right, Jose?
yeah, the one I posted, the Yahoo
Yeah.
exclusive poster. It looks like
He's taller than the buildings though in that poster, from what I remember.
yeah, but the thing is that people are having issues because in the first teaser trailer, he seems
Okay.
to be bigger than the buildings. But in the poster, he seems to be almost, if not the same size as a building.
Well, there's one thing that I think we have to remember is that the 1954 movie was based in Japan mostly, right? Correct?
Right.
And
Hmm.
maybe the buildings back then, well, now Japan have very tall buildings, but the buildings back then were probably not as big as they are now in comparisons to buildings here in the United States as big as they
Hmm.
are now. You got to remember it's been what 60 years since the original film or whatever any of the
Which we
other
also
films.
have to, which we also have to try to tell everybody who's watching, for those who live in the United States, get ready because 2 weeks, or I think a few weeks prior to the release of the movie, people will get a chance to see the original 1954 Godzilla in theaters.
Oh, really?
Because
Gonna re-release it?
It's
Toho
gonna come
Toho
out
is
on April through
in
like
April, yeah.
July. Yeah.
Because Toho is celebrating the 60th anniversary restoration of the original 1954 film, so they're releasing it in theaters a few weeks or prior to the reboot release.
That's such.
So,
Well, I wouldn't. Again, I'm not. I don't think this is a reboot. This is more of a sequel. I would say 'Cause the fact that
um,
well,
I
the fact
wouldn't
that they're
say that.
referring to
This
the
is actually a sequel, in
1954.
my opinion.
Well,
So,
Yeah, I see it's more like a sequel than a reboot.
I think it would be classified as in a reboot because if you're gonna say it like that, then Roland Emmerich's movie is a sequel too because they
No,
mention
no,
they
no,
no,
mention
no,
they
no,
no,
mention
no,
no.
no, no,
exactly exactly
no.
that's what I'm saying
He
because
number
in
one.
Roland Emmerich's movie they mention the disaster in Japan. They reference a lot to the Godzilla from the original movie, so you could say that that Godzilla also exists
No,
No,
in the same
no.
universe because
no.
even Tyler knows this. In a movie, Roland Emmerich's Godzilla in Japan appears, and they even make reference to Roland
That
Emmerich's
is true.
Godzilla.
That is
They
true.
also make reference to Roland Emmerich's Godzilla in a Japanese Godzilla movie, saying the Americans say they found Godzilla, but that's not Godzilla. That's some
Yeah,
other
that was in
creature.
Godzilla Final Wars.
That's
That's Zilla.
that's
They
another
call him
creature.
Zilla now. His name is Zilla.
Zilla,
Yeah.
Um,
yes. So, but here's the thing. The reason I'm saying that this is a reboot and not a sequel is because of the fact the characters in this movie, Rodan and Gigan, are not going to be called that. They're going to be referred to in different names because of the simple fact Toho hasn't given the rights to any of their other characters yet. The
well,
only
why
way
would
you,
they? Okay, well, no, my
uh,
thing is, why would they refer them the same name? Why? Maybe the Americans want to give them a different name. Maybe they
well,
don't want to
Gareth,
refer them
well,
the same name.
well, that's the thing is that
I
Gareth
think they
Edwards
had to
mentioned they
purchase
had.
the rights of the characters' names to use the names.
No,
Like
well,
they
actually,
the rights to Godzilla.
Yeah, well,
So,
that's the thing that Toho said. Toho confirmed that if Warner Brothers and Legendary, well, more like Legendary now, is if they're able to see how this movie does in cinemas, then they're willing to give them the rights to the other characters. So I gotta say, it's more of a reboot and less of a sequel because th- this Godzilla is definitely a lot better. Not taking away from the 1954 or any other Godzilla movie, but this Godzilla looks like he's going to destroy. He just looks so. The whole trailer feels like I'm watching a horror movie. That's
Well, you
what it
gotta.
feels like.
Well, it's not
Like I
easy.
feel
It's
like
not.
I'm.
It's not fair to compare them because again, the original Godzilla is from 1954. As Tyler said, it's a guy in a suit. This is a CGI Godzilla, and I feel like in reality, if these monsters would to exist, I don't think people would actually have names for them. Like, oh, that's so and so. That's so and so. They'll just call them monsters, you know. So like the whole name thing, I don't think is very important and as a way to use it as an example why this is a reboot. For me, I feel like this is a sequel. Like they're continuing on the story. It's been 60 years since the previous Godzilla came to be. They might ignore the previous movies and just pretend that 60 years has passed and now he appears again after the mess that was 1954, as they mentioned in the trailer. Like I feel like that's what it is. I feel like this is more of a sequel than a reboot in itself.
I personally feel it's a
Uh,
reboot. I personally feel it's a reboot of the entire Godzilla franchise, and
Tyler, what do you
Chancellor.
think? Tyler, what do you
Yeah,
think?
he's the
personally,
end all
I
be all.
think it's like a sequel and a reboot.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
Okay.
Why do you think it's a sequel and a reboot at the same time?
It's a sequel because it's a continuation of the original Godzilla, at least what the impression I got from it.
Okay.
And it's also a reboot because it's going to refresh people's minds about what Godzilla really is and
Mhm.
has new characters and stuff, and also a new design for Godzilla. So it's like both a reboot and a sequel.
Yeah.
I can come to terms with that.
Uh,
What else about this trailer that stuck out for me? We didn't really get. You know what's weird? We didn't get much dialogue from Aaron Taylor Johnson.
How big of a character is he in this movie? Like I'm not really.
He's a big character. He is the husband of Bryan Cranston's daughter,
Who is
who is
Elizabeth
Elizabeth
Olsen?
Olsen. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
So it's weird how he didn't have that much dialogue. He only said one thing, like, "Can you kill it?" And then everything else, he's just silent. He's just looking up, you know. So uh, it's confusing. I don't know what they're trying to say. Like, he might not be a big
I
thing in the movie.
I think it's because Bryan Cranston is the bomb diggity, and they're like, you know what? Let's just feature Bryan Cranston in the trailer, and then everybody else can come later. Like, I'm sure if they release a third trailer, which will be probably an extended
Actually,
trailer,
this is actually the final trailer. Actually,
so there's not going to be any more trailers after this, really?
no, this is
That's
the
it?
official. This is the official. Like they put in their YouTube channel, the official main trailer. This is the main
Oh,
trailer.
wow.
They're only releasing two trailers, the teaser and this one, and
Well,
then they're gonna just leave people in suspense for the movie.
that's amazing. I actually really appreciate them doing that because nowadays it seems like they have like 20 trailers for one movie. By the time you know it, you already saw the whole film. So that's good that they're hiding a lot.
Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, extended trailer and behind
An
the
extended Rise of Electro.
Yeah, so that's good because now that we see the movie, they're hiding a lot of things, which is good. We don't really see Godzilla, which is great. I'm glad we really didn't see a lot of Godzilla in these trailers. Like
And
we
you
get
know what that
little
made me
free
feel?
things. What?
Made me remember Cloverfield.
Yes, exactly, and that worked perfectly because when you finally
Because
see the monster in the movie, you're like, "Holy crap! What the hell is that?"
and even with that ending shot of Godzilla roaring, we really don't get to see a lot of him in like him in action destroying a city.
Yeah, we
So
haven't seen that yet. We haven't seen him like
so
be Godzilla.
I'm extremely excited and anticipating what he's going to do to San Francisco. I'm sorry,
Oh
City by
wow!
the Bay. I'm sorry to the City by the Bay, but
You
you're not
have
gonna
like
be.
some, you
You're gonna,
gotta have some beef with San Francisco or something that we should
you
know
know what?
about.
But like I'm just saying, San Francisco, the City by the Bay. After this movie, you're not gonna be by the bay. You're gonna be in the bay. So, I'm just saying it's gonna be an awesome movie. But if San Francisco has to go first, I can live with that.
Okay, I have a question for Tyler. Where do you think they're going with this story? Because again, they refer to 1954. Where do you think where do you think Godzilla's been for the past 60 years? Like, who do you think is
Uh,
going to be the origin of this story? Like, how does he come to be again?
well, just referring back to the original movies,
Okay.
and like in the movie called Godzilla versus King Ghidorah, which came out in 1992, they kind
Mhm.
of explained the origin story by saying that he comes from a species called Godzillasaurus. No kidding. And basically he saw some soldiers and he pretty much saved them from some kind of monster. And so basically he died out and a new species came out from the atomic bomb. So I'm trying to think that this story might have the same kind of story about how Godzilla came to be, only a little differently, because it shows in the trailer that it has this kind of atomic bomb just going on the island. So I guess maybe because of recent events, because of the atomic bomb, that he woke up again.
Mhm.
I also would like during this video to give a shout out to Caitlin Wong. For many who do not know, Caitlin Wong was actually an extra in the Godzilla film. She was actually during in filming there, and she said that a lot of the filming took place in Hawaii. So it looks like that's what they're trying to shoot in the trailer. It looks like that's where the tidal wave and everything happened in Hawaii.
Yeah. It seems like he
So
goes from the Pacific Ocean up to the west coast of the United States, and he kind of makes
I
his way
think
across.
I think I agree with Tyler too. He Godzilla could actually be just waking up because in previous Godzilla, and it looks like that's cool too that they're paying homage to that because in all the Godzilla films, the only time Godzilla ever shows up is when he senses another monster on Earth. You know, like every time that's the only time he ever shows up. He comes out of the water to fight another monster, and it looks like in the trailer from that scene from that monster falling into the ocean,
Mhm.
looked like that could be the reason why he wakes up because you see all those jet planes
Okay.
falling from the air, and it could be that Rodan is going to be the first monster he fights, and then Gigan will be the second monster he fights later on in the film because you see all those hatchling eggs in that one shot underground, and I think
Yes.
that is Gigan. That's Gigan's hatchlings. Like those are his hatchlings that he's laying underground, so he could spawn like an army. So I'm excited that if he's gonna fight two monsters, that I won't be. I'm going to have to bring an extra pair of jeans because
It's
there's
gonna
no
be
way.
it's gonna be disaster porn for sure.
I'm gonna
Somebody
disaster.
yeah. Somebody posted in the comment, TF3100. He wrote that I heard in the movie that they find the original Godzilla frozen in ice. Tyler, can you confirm or deny that?
That was true. Like in the moments of Godzilla dying in the second movie called Godzilla Raised Again, he was
Okay.
in ice, and then in the third movie called King Kong versus Godzilla, he erupted from the iceberg. So
Is it possible they can be doing that with this film?
I think it could be possible, but I don't think that's the impression that I got from the trailer. What I got from the trailer is that he woke up from the atomic bomb, not from ice.
Another atomic bomb.
Uh, n-
Yeah.
well, I don't know if many people knew this, but and I mentioned this in your last hangout when we were talking about Godzilla,
Hmm.
that the reason why, and for those watching this video, for the reason why Bryan Cranston keeps mentioning typhoons and earthquakes and tsunamis, he's talking about the tsunami that happened in Japan in 2000, I want to say 11.
Yes, I
That's what
remember
he's
you
Oh
talking.
yeah,
mentioning that.
2011.
Okay.
He's talking about that, and I'm gonna bring this up again. Gareth Edwards at Comic Con mentioned that this Godzilla will have the same almost borderline creation as the original 1954 Godzilla, bringing back the fact that sometimes man's mistakes can create the world's monsters. So, just like the 1954 Godzilla was created by the fact that we were testing nuclear bombs in Japan, this one will be created by the nuclear reactors of Japan, and hence why the tsunami was created was because Godzilla was waking up. So that's
Oh,
the
wait.
reason.
Well, the thing is, the nuclear thing in Japan happened after the tsunami. Could it be possibly the actual natural earthquake is what wakes him up, and then what happens to the
It
nuclear
could
power plant is what not creates him,
Yeah.
but makes him more of a monster than what he is, and that's
it
why
could
he
be.
looks different he looks different from the original 1954. Maybe he
Maybe
kind of
he is the
evolved in
maybe
a way.
maybe
That
he
water
could be the
shot of
original.
Godzilla, like that water shot of Godzilla in the trailer, looks different from the rest of the trailer of Godzilla being shown. So
Okay.
maybe after he got up from the water, then he made the whole entire place explode, and then he got the mutated part of him to look
Yeah.
the way he does.
Maybe it could be the Godzilla that the original got. Maybe this could be the original Godzilla that was frozen in the ice in under Japan, maybe. And then after the nuclear reactors kind of went haywire, he woke up and he
And
probably
he
got
and he
mutated.
probably maybe evolved into
He
something more
probably evolved into
manipulative.
something. Yup, there it
That's
is.
possible. You
So,
know, this is all speculation. We're not confirming or
yep,
anything.
we're not confirming any of this. We're just saying it's speculation because there's just so much about this trailer that you can connect. And here's the other thing: the two monsters, they haven't been confirmed yet, but a lot of people are speculating that those two monsters are going to be Rodan and Gigon because of the simple fact there's a shot in the trailer with the claw hook hand, and I gotta say that made me cry, that made me scream.
Okay, here's my question. Where do those two monsters originate from? Tyler, give us the
Rodan first
411.
appeared. Okay, Rodan first appeared in 1956 under the movie called Rodan, and then he
Okay.
first appeared in the Godzilla movie in 1964 under the title Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster. Now, for Gigan, he first appeared in 1972 in the movie called Godzilla vs. Gigan, and he would also appear in 1973's movie called Godzilla vs. Megalon, and he would also appear in Godzilla Final Wars.
If I remember correctly, Tyler, he's Gigon's from outer space, right? And he came down on an asteroid, I believe.
Yeah, in Godzilla vs. Gigan, he came from outer space because evil cockroaches called upon him. No joke.
There it is. There it is. The evil cockroaches thing. Can those evil cockroaches be the hatchlings in the trailer? Just saying because of the simple fact that for those who don't know, in the Comic-Con footage that was shown in 2013, many people were saying that there's a specific scene where Godzilla, you know, the airport scene where the planes are exploding one after the other.
Uh-huh.
Apparently, there's a scene in the movie where these mutated giant spiders destroying planes. But then Godzilla shows up, and you can tell that he's bigger than these spiders because he smashes one.
I know that
with his
spider.
foot.
The spider that we're talking about is from 1967's Son of Godzilla, where the spider is called Cameras or something.
Yeah, so there's these little spiders that show up, and then Godzilla destroys them. I think those could be the hatchlings or the egg sacs that we see in that shot. So,
Okay, here's my thing though. I feel like you're mentioning like so many monsters, like there's two monsters and then there's the spiders. Do you feel like that's gonna make the movie too bloated to have so many things? Because
no.
personally, I would have preferred just a origin film where we see God, not really an origin film because obviously they're gonna go off of the 1954 film, but I would have preferred just to have maybe Godzilla and one other monster. But now it seems like you're mentioning way too many monsters. Like we have humans. And then we have monsters, and then we have spiders, and then we have Godzilla.
Well, I mean, like
it feels bloated.
It's like in past Godzilla films, they managed to have 3 monsters or more than 1 monsters, and they still make it work for some reason.
Their top number of monsters, if I remember, is 4 that they've had in a movie. It was Gigan, Godzilla, Anguirus, and King Ghidorah, all 4 of them fighting in a movie. So they've made it work in the past because of the simple fact. I think Gareth Edwards didn't want it to just be an origin story of just Godzilla. Because even though that is, you know, even alone that would be cool, there wouldn't be much to honestly work with. You'd have Godzilla appearing and destroying cities, but there would have to be a specific motive as to why he's doing that. Him just destroying cities, that's all fine and cool, but if he's just destroying cities, what else is he going to do? Like,
well, here's the thing that I assumed this movie was going to have more of the human element, because I know the older Godzilla movies, like, it's mostly focused on the monsters, and the human element is not really a big deal. I mean, they're there, but you don't sympathize with them. You're just like, okay, they're just there just for dialogue to tell us what's going on, while these monsters are out there beating each other up and destroying the city, and we're like, yay! Like, really, people watch Godzilla movies for the monsters. They don't watch them for the human element.
Like the only kind of movie that focuses more about the human element for Godzilla's films are like the first film, then also Monster vs. Godzilla, but the
Uh-huh.
rest of them don't really focus much on the
It's
story
exactly, and
aspects.
like that's what I feel like. I thought this movie was gonna be like Monsters. Like I thought it was gonna be like that, where the human element is a bigger part of the actual monsters. While I felt this movie was gonna be like the human element with Bryan Cranston and his family and his son-in-law, and then Godzilla were going to be the stars of this movie. But it seems like with all these different monsters and also these humans, it's like I don't know. I feel like the movie can be really bloated. Like this can be possibly a negative. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there.
I doubt it because Gareth Edwards knows what he's doing. He, when I heard the announcement that he was directing it, I thought it was hands down the perfect choice because Roland Emmerich didn't know what the hell he was doing with that movie. He had no
Um,
idea. He had
what,
no
Story
idea.
goes, like
He
the
what
made it
story
seem
Tyler?
goes,
like
What Tyler?
like the story goes is that Garrett Evers is actually a fan of Godzilla, and when he
Mhm.
actually got the call to do the Godzilla movie, he was watching the first Godzilla movie onto DVD, and then when he got the phone call and he said, "Hey, we want you to do a Godzilla movie," he signed up for the deal. That's how the
Okay,
story goes.
so that's a beautiful story and everything, but why did he do such a terrible job with the filming then? If he was such a
Roland
fan
Emmerich.
of Godzilla.
No. Are you saying Gareth Edwards or Roland Emmerich, Tyler?
Wait.
No, Garrett
Gareth
Evers.
Edwards. He's saying Gareth Edwards.
Oh, I thought he was talking about the other director.
No,
Okay,
no,
okay,
no.
okay.
Tyler.
No, no,
Tyler.
no, no. Roland Emmerich does not like Godzilla at all.
Okay, I can tell by this movie. Okay, yeah, that's good. Well, you can tell by the trailer that he is a fan of Godzilla. Like, obviously, I mean, the fact that the Godzilla actually looks like Godzilla is just, you can tell that he likes it. But I just feel like the movie
Also,
could
Brian
possibly be too
Cranston's a
bloated.
fan of Godzilla too.
So that's good. So I don't know.
Uh,
Do you guys know how long the movie's gonna be? Like, what's the
from
runtime for the
what the
film?
runtime for the movie right now is supposedly going to be a little over 2 hours. So it could be 2 hours 15 minutes, 2 hour 30. But Gareth Edwards said that this is going to be in an interview. He said this is going to not only be the Godzilla movie American fans have been waiting for, but this is going to be an interpretation of Godzilla that overseas fans will not only be happy that is out there, but will be honored that Godzilla is bringing life back into cinemas. So I'm
Yeah.
excited. I feel this Godzilla is going to be the Godzilla of this generation, and is
Uh-huh.
going to stick with American audiences and with overseas audience because we need Godzilla back in
We need
theaters.
we need some good monster movies. Like we're lacking that in the theater. Like we need to
Hey,
have.
hey, Pacific Rim.
Oh
Yeah,
well.
Pacific Rim.
Pacific Rim. How dare you?
uh,
How dare you with the monster
okay.
movies?
We need good monster movies that are
No.
very
No.
successful in the box office because I don't want to get into a debate about Pacific Rim, but
Well, we don't
I
know if
want.
this movie's gonna be good either because a lot of people are actually are not impressed with this trailer, even though we are.
I don't. Well, because honestly, if you're not impressed by this trailer, you were never a Godzilla fan, and you were never a fan of monster movies. Because this trailer is absolutely amazing, and anybody who wants to dispute that and completely tear down this trailer obviously aren't a fan of monster movies, so they can go elsewhere with that. Because
You go to
honestly,
San Francisco, see how that helps you.
because I mean, the fact that this is going to be the last trailer, as you say, if that's even true, I don't know.
It
Maybe
is.
they can say that, and later they'll come out with another trailer. I think it's amazing that they're really hiding it and they're keeping it under wraps and they're not exposing too much of it.
Well, the movie
Because
comes out in March, doesn't it?
no,
No,
May,
in May.
This comes out in
So
May.
yeah,
it's only 3 months away. So for them to release only 2 trailers is smart because
it's
Cloverfield
perfect.
did the same thing. Cloverfield
Exactly.
did the exact same thing. Only released 2 trailers, and that's it. And
You don't want to overexpose this movie. This is one of those movies that you want to see the majority in theaters. You don't want to see it in the trailer or behind the scenes or
mm,
TV spots and all those wonderful things that Amazing Spider-Man 2 is doing.
yeah, Amazing Spider-Man. Maybe you should learn to have your male lead not say anything. Hmm? Maybe less dialogue would be a good
But
thing
yeah,
for
but
Andrew
I mean,
Garfield.
we're all in agreement here that this trailer was amazing. That this could be the starting point of the Godzilla franchise. I guess you could say it's a reboot for the new generation for introducing everybody to what Godzilla is, and maybe we'll get more people into Godzilla. They'll go back and see the older
Only,
films and stuff like that.
only thing that is honestly an issue here is of the simple fact that Legendary Pictures and Warner Brothers, this is their last collaboration together. So no one knows where Godzilla's gonna go yet.
Well, here's
Godzilla,
the
huh?
Wait, what, Taylor?
like. Well, the situation is this: like, Legendary Pictures paid Toho the rights to have the rights for Godzilla, so they could probably do a movie with Universal. So it's not like Warner Brothers just acts like the distributor of the film. They're not part of the production. Legendary Pictures is, and Legendary
Mm.
Pictures purchased those rights. So if they were to do like a movie like with Universal, like King Kong versus Godzilla the remake or something like that, they could do it.
That There it is. I want to see that Godzilla versus King Kong. Since now Godzilla is going to be part of Universal, I want to
They
see
can do
King
that.
Kong versus Godzilla. You make that happen, Universal. You put a
But
giant gorilla and a lizard in a movie, have them fight anywhere.
okay, here's my thing. Here's my thing. If they do that, will they go with the Peter Jackson King Kong, or will they completely reboot him?
Oh wow.
Because
You're
the
funny.
Peter,
You're
because
funny.
the Peter
You're funny.
Jackson, the Peter Jackson King Kong isn't really that big. Like this Godzilla can just flick him
No,
and he's done.
that Godzilla, that King Kong from Peter Jackson is like a chicken nugget to Godzilla.
He's
He's like a,
tiny.
he's like
He
a
was
Tic
a
Tac. You
tiny.
just put him in his breath.
Well, that's the thing. Like, if they do a Godzilla versus King Kong, they have to reboot King Kong.
They would have to reboot him. They'd have to make him bigger, obviously, almost the same size as Godzilla. But I
To
think
even
it
be
could
a fair
happen.
fight. To even be a
It
fair
could
fight.
happen.
It
It
could.
could be. It could work. It could happen. I still think it could work, but we'll see what happens. There's a lot of things now that are possible with Godzilla going to Universal as well. There's a lot of Pacific Rim slash Godzilla crossover movie could still happen.
See,
Uh,
I don't really want Godzilla to become too much of an overexposure, because I think that's the problem with the earlier films, is that you had some great earlier movies, and then they overexposed him to the point that the movies just became bad. Like, they almost became unbearable. Like, you just fast forward until towards the end when he's fighting all the monsters, and you didn't really care about the rest. And I don't want this Godzilla. I mean, if they're gonna start fresh with a new Godzilla, they should do it in a way where they respect him in a way that they don't overexpose him and use him as just like a prop,
a prop,
like
yeah.
like a commercial
A
item.
commercial, yep.
So that's
Just
what I
like
want from this. But
just
probably
like Godzilla versus Mothra. Those little pixie chicks piss me off.
yeah, like like you don't want to we don't want to dumb down Godzilla, or he's already been dumbed down for so long. Like, they need to bring him back to what obviously they're trying to do with this film, and like
This movie, oh my god, this movie is like 1954 Godzilla was like he just decided to take a break. He got big, he let himself go. Then he said, "You know what? I'm going to go to Gold's Gym and work out and come back all ripped." And then he wakes up and he's like, "All right, so I'm just going to lift up the San Francisco Bridge. Here we go. One,
the Golden Gate Bridge.
the Golden Gate Bridge, one." And then he just comes back and he just looks so badass. That like I'm gonna keep repeating this over and over, Shen. The selling point for that entire trailer is the final shot of seeing Godzilla roar. If that does not waken up every testosterone in your body, if your girlfriend is not pregnant after seeing that shot, if you are not in the if you are not in the theater, if you're watching the trailer in the theater and you are not somehow crapping your pants, then this trailer is obviously not doing its job. Because I saw that shot and I squealed like a schoolgirl so much that I had Catholic priests lining up at my door. I'm not even. So I'm just saying, it's that good of a trailer.
Tyler, was that your reaction as well? I mean, are you gonna ditto everything Jose said? I'm just wondering.
Well, I can't disagree with it, so I agree with you.
Oh my god, it's there's no, and then I think another thing that I like about this trailer, it feels like a horror movie. It feels like Gareth Edwards wants Godzilla to be taken seriously. Like, he wants him to be scary. He wants you to be able to go to sleep at night and fear this thing forever. So I'm excited. I honestly, I'm gonna see this movie not only in 3D, but if it comes out in 3D IMAX, I'm watching it in
Me
3D
Oh,
too.
it's gonna
IMAX.
if they fix the CGI, it's gonna be freaking amazing.
Yeah, that's the only. Yeah. Water.
Somebody posted in the comments, creator Jamal. He says that this movie looks way better than the 1998 movie, which we all know. But
Well, yeah, obviously.
he says it doesn't look better than the 1954 film.
What?
I don't think that this movie is supposed to be compared to the
I know. I was like,
1954.
it's not
Yeah,
fair.
we've been
It's
saying
not
that.
fair.
Yeah.
50
So,
years.
You can't really compare a man in a plastic suit who probably ate ramen noodle all day to a new CGI Godzilla.
But he
Because
says that that one looks better than what we're seeing right now with this new
no,
one.
no, no, you can't compare it. I mean, the Godzilla from 1954 is a classic. And here's something that Big Gabe has been saying to me all the time about reboots or remade franchises or in general remade characters. If you don't like this new envisionment of a character, you can always still have the original. So for people watching this video, if you aren't as excited to watch this Godzilla reboot slash remake slash sequel, oh god, it's all three. Then you can
Reimagine.
reimagining thingamabob with the Terminator franchise and blah. Anyways, if you guys are not fans of this, you still can have all the original films, and I'm pretty sure Godzilla, that Tyler, I was about to call Tyler Godzilla. Uh, I'm pretty sure Tyler will agree with me. If nobody, if you know, likes this movie, you still have the originals to watch.
indeed.
So, that's the thing with all remakes and reboots. If you don't like the new incarnation or interpretation of a character, you still have your originals to watch, like RoboCop.
Well, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
the thing you have to appreciate about this movie, it actually waits 60 years to actually change or sequel reboot or anything. It's not. It didn't happen within just a couple of years, like most reboots and remakes these days. That take movies that just came out the other day and they reboot and they remake it. They actually have people who are fans of the original film and they're actually looking forward to finally seeing their favorite character on the screen again, because the majority of the newer movies, you're not getting wide releases like
They're just
most
keeping
reboots
going.
and remakes are. They're kind of like straight to DVD, straight to Blu-ray, whatever. While this is an actual like feature film that's going to be released in theaters with great actors, and it's been so long since we've actually seen Godzilla on the big screen. The last time we really saw him on the big screen as a wide release was 1998 when we got an actual
No,
like
no, no. It was
no,
actually.
I'm talking about a big release, like a really
Oh.
big release where it's like being overly promoted, that they're releasing a bunch of trailers, that it's a wide release where you can go to any theater and see. This is the first time that we're seeing Godzilla since 1998, from that one previous movie. So this is something that you gotta like really appreciate and really admire, because it's something that we haven't really seen in a long time
You know what
on
is
the big
funny?
screen.
You know what's funny that I hope is true because they interviewed Bryan Cranston about this. I heard they're gonna make a jab at Roland Emmerich's movie in the film.
Why? He thinks the trailer is awesome.
I know, but they're gonna make Gareth Edwards and Bryan Cranston have both actually confirmed that they. I think even Bryan Cranston said like when they were interviewing him, he had his fingers in like this in his mouth. He was like, there might or might not be a jab at Roland Emmerich's Godzilla. I'm just saying, like he was like this, and if that happens, I'm gonna laugh so hard.
Maybe one of the monsters is gonna be Zilla.
No! No!
No, no,
No!
no, 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 no.
Can you imagine if Zilla shows up? He's
No.
like he's still in New York. He's like, "What's up?"
No!
Godzilla just like steps on him. It's like, okay.
He just rips him in. He just rips him off in half.
Nah, he
Like,
doesn't even rip him up. He just steps on him because he's so tiny.
he just Oh boy, I'm happy. This trailer got me pumped. There's been a lot of trailers, and from what I understand, this is tomorrow. We're getting the second trailer for X-Men: Days of Future Past. There's just so much good stuff coming out, and this has to be the pinnacle of everything. Not taking away anything from Guardians of the Galaxy that came out last week, but this trailer surpasses it in so much. Even I have to admit that. Even I have to admit that.
I mean,
And that's
the fact that they don't show a lot is what really gets to you. Like you have Bryan Cranston and his beautiful voice just like talking over.
Oh,
You got the music from 2001: Space Odyssey playing. It's like overall, I mean, if the visual effects were a lot better, there would be no complaints for this trailer. Like it would be a solid overall good trailer. But
if this movie had Morgan Freeman, I'd lose my shit.
oh my god.
If this movie had like Morgan Freeman in it, like as a sergeant, or if Morgan Freeman had been that sergeant in the teaser trailer, saying all that stuff to the soldiers, I would have just.
Like you would forget it. You're like,
I would
I just write a check. Just take my money.
I just would have fainted and woken back up, and people would be like, "What day is it? It's 4 months ago." In the future, I would have just been like, "Oh my god."
Just put me in a coma, wake me up when the movie comes out. I can't live
I
anymore. But yeah,
I just miss,
I think overall, I think we talked about it. I mean, there's nothing else for us to really.
There's
focus
nothing
on.
really. No, there isn't. I'm just gonna go back and watch that trailer as many times as I can before I go to bed.
But I guess we're gonna end this hangout. I'm gonna say thank you guys for joining me. As always, it's always fun to hang out with you guys, Jose and Tyler. I'll leave it to you guys to say your goodbyes. Jose, go say what you need to say. And
I just want to say thank you for Shipper Word for having me. It's been a lot of fun talking to you guys, especially to those out there about the Godzilla trailer. I'm excited for this movie. I cannot wait. I'm going to watch this trailer many more times. It's interesting because I've never seen a non-pornographic video this many times. So it's an improvement. It's an improvement.
wow.
So, and I'm even honestly going to say this trailer is better than porn.
There you go, you guys. That should be on the poster. That should be on the poster.
Godzilla. Better than porn.
Tyler, go ahead and say your goodbyes.
All right, thank you, Shipper, for having me in this hangout. And
You're
my
welcome.
channel is like Tyler Preston 20. So if you guys want to see my stuff, I mostly talk about Godzilla stuff. So if you want to see that, please check out my channel. And again, thank you for having me here, Chipper. And I really enjoyed this conversation.
No problem. So with that, we say goodbye, everybody. Thank you all for joining us. Bye.
Bye.
Better than